y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I have a Cricut project for you. I am going to attempt to make a paper wreath for my basement door, and I'm going to use some old scraps, some book paper that a friend gifted me, some vintage paper, and we're going to see how this works. So let's head over to Cricut Design Space and get going. This is definitely an example of one of those projects that is made super simple and easy with your Cricut. So let's first just look at projects to see what is available. Here you can see when you type in wreath, there are lots of options and they are absolutely beautiful. I happen to love this leaf wreath right here. So we are going to press this and see what it takes. So you have the different card stocks here. This is beautiful. I think that's the one we're going to go with. So we're going to go ahead and click customize and replace. Okay, so here are all the different options. Now, I actually don't need this harvest blessing, so I'm going to hide those as we get in here. Hide all of these. There's lots of layers here because they were using this as like a wood veneer to stack on top of each other, which is a super cool way to do that. And then you just have all of these leaves. So I'm going to click make it. It's set to go. It's going to sort them into different mats based on color. These are not the exact colors I'm going to use, so I'm going to shift them on my mat, but I will get to cutting, and you can see it's just going to be super simple to cut out all these leaves and then layer them on a wreath project. Let's do it. Here we go. I have never been super big on creating my own fall decor. I love home decor and I love to go out and buy it, but I've never really made a lot of it. However, I am trying to kind of power through a really big stash of scrapbooking supplies and wanted to look for some more ways that I could use it, and came across this idea and I just love it, and I love how easy it is to put together. I didn't have to buy anything that wasn't already in my craft room, and now I have a really unique home decor piece. I'm super excited about it. As often happens when you are working on a craft project, I kind of got struck with some inspiration, so I'm going to change this up ever so slightly. I have this foam circle that I cut out from foam board. I'm going to use a solid piece of paper to cover this, and then the leaves will go along the outside, and then I will do some sort of sentiment in the inside that I will come back and cut out with my Cricut. But I thought right now, let me go ahead and adhere this and start putting the leaves around and see how filled out I can make it. Let's go. I do love how craft projects can just evolve as you're working on them. My wreath ends up looking nothing like the wreath that was in the photo from Cricut Design Space, but that is perfectly okay because mine is suited for my needs. So all I did was use my adhesive and I mounted it on to the scrapbook paper, and I will just cut around the edge. Yes, it is a little bumpy because of the razor blade that I used to cut the foam core, but no big deal because I'll just cut the paper slightly larger, so you're not going to see that foam in the back. All it is providing kind of a sturdy background for my wreath to be put on. And I'm also not worrying about how smooth it is, how perfect of a circle it is on the top. You could certainly measure that out and cut it with your Cricut, but because my leaves are going to overlap the edge, it wasn't a big deal to me at all. Probably the trickiest part of this project was just trying to figure out where I was going to put all of these leaves, and I decided to just kind of space them as I went and started like the hands of a clock, just moving the clock around, moving them, trying to kind of equally space them, but just wanting to eyeball it. I'm adding just a little bit of adhesive. It's not going to take a lot because it is just paper. So I kind of want them to be pulled up as we go. So I think they'll kind of weather nicely, if that makes sense. And I'm really pleased with these different colors. These are all scraps from Felicity Jane past kits that I have collected, and they have such a beautiful muted tone, and I like the pop of the dusty rose color in there as the background of the wreath. I think it's kind of unexpected for fall, which is a lot of fun. I did end up trying to alternate between solids and patterns to make the patterns pop a little bit more, and then took this mustard yellow, a little bit orangish color to finish off the inside with a little bit more of a polished look, and to frame up where I'm going to add a phrase. Okay, let's find something for the middle of our wreath. So we're going to come to projects again, and I'm gonna just type in happy fall and see what we come up with. There's a ton of fall projects that you can use. Love that fall leaf garland, but I'm just gonna look for a phrase, something that could fit nicely in there. I think I love fall most of all. Love that. Let's put this in here. Very cool. So I'm going to select all of that. I'm going to group it together so that I can size it for my wreath, and I will measure it and figure out what the appropriate size will be. Okay, it looks like for the size of the wreath, the height max will be about 6 inches. So we'll resize it for that. We're going to go to Make It. And actually, I want the spacing to be a little bit different. So I'm going to go back to Cancel, grouping that together, and I'm going to attach those so that the spacing stays just like it is on that picture. So now when I go to Make It, you will see that it's just like that. And I'm going to print this, or cut this, sorry, on some vinyl that I can then adhere to my wreath. Let's see how it works out. I opted for some gold permanent vinyl that I had in my stash. I think it's going to be gorgeous. Okay, so I have my vinyl right here, and I will do what is called weeding, which means you take off the pieces that are the negative space, the pieces that you don't want transferred. So you can see it's pretty easy because this wasn't a super intricate cut, but I will remove that and then remove the inner pieces. And then I will transfer it right on to my wreath. I used my Cricut tweezers to finish pulling off the insides of some of the letters, and I just like to collect all the little pieces on my finger as I go. Then I'm using some transfer tape. This is clear transfer tape, and all you have to do is press it on top of your vinyl cutout, using my scraper right there to make sure it's adhered nicely, and then the vinyl comes right off the backing, and you can place it where you want it on your project. So I'm trying to aim for the middle right here, coming back with the scraper to smooth it out, and then I will very carefully peel back the transfer tape, especially because I'm working with paper. I want to peel it back really gently so I don't tear the paper in the background, but it does still work. It still comes off really nicely with the vinyl, and it's a great way to get your pieces positioned exactly where you want them. The whole project started looking just a little bit too flat for me. So I grabbed some adhesive foam dots, and I am going to go around and just add them under some of the leaves to kind of pop them up. It's hard to see in this picture, but it does add some nice dimension. I'll just work my way around, and it's a great way to just, like I said, add dimension, add a little bit more interest. This is a step that's totally optional. I just happen to have a bunch of these adhesive dots in my room. So if you don't have them, don't worry about it. You could also just curl up the edges with your hands, fold them. Paper you can do a lot with. This is going to live inside, so I'm not really worried about it weathering. And I could have just gone through and kind of bent up some of the edges, made it look a little bit more worn, a little bit more natural. So totally up to you on how you want your finished product to look. Okay, here is the final product. I might still add something on the sides, I'm not sure, but look at how cute that came out. It took me maybe about an hour total to create this custom wreath using things that I had in my craft room, which is awesome. That is always a big plus, and I'm super excited. Happy fall, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, will you please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I have linked all the supplies that I use down below. I hope that you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.